Welcome back, friends. Have a little bit of time, so here we go with a 1510. My wife's doing a little cleaning in the other room, so I apologize if you hear some extra noise, maybe a vacuum running. We get the white pieces today. It's a 2000, and I'm an E4 player, so E4 it is, versus a Sicilian. Okay. Here, I've been dabbling a lot with the Smith Morra. I'm also an Alpen player. I've been known to play the Open as well. It's been a while for the Open. Um, we're going to see how the Smith Morra treats me today. Gambiting a pawn to develop a piece, and I'm down material, but I am fighting for initiative. I have initiative, and I'm going to fight for speedy development. I want to be able to tuck my bishop back here if he attacks. I'm going to go ahead and castle. And my queen opposing his king. And that will sometimes create some knight f5 ideas jumping in here, even though the e6 pawn is there. This is my favorite line against the Smith Morra as well. Both knights kind of clamping down on this square. These two pawns keeping knights from jumping in here, but they've played accurately. Still got a lot to accomplish here. I think White's still doing very well. Um, my immediate knight jump to d5 doesn't quite work, I don't think. Just takes. I'm attacking the knight, but the knight jumps back and uh, blocks the check on the king. And then, I mean, if I had a pawn push here, that would be wonderful, but I don't. So my candidate moves here are rook d1, preparing that push and creating the threat of knight d5, but also bishop to not there. Bishop to e3. Bishop e3. Um, that cuts off my queen from the king. So I'm going to go rook d1 because I know the rook wants to be there. Okay. Now the bishop is blocking the check, so there is no check with knight here. It's simply pawn takes, and I guess the knight comes back, but then I do have the pawn push, threatening the queen. Queen comes back, pawn takes, and either queen or knight takes. And if queen takes, my queen is defended. I don't want to trade queens though. Pawn takes. a bishop here. Pawn takes, pawn takes, knight back, pawn forward, castles, pawn takes, knight takes, knight jumps in. No, because the knight's not pinned, the knight could just take, but then rook takes. Trading a lot of pieces there. I don't want to trade a whole bunch of pieces because uh that stifles my attack. I need pieces to attack. So I'm going to develop the bishop. I'm going to swing my rook over, opposing the queen. Um, okay, he's attacking my bishop. Any tricks with taking? Takes. No. I'm going attacking the queen immediately. Takes. Pawn takes. Bishop takes. Pawn takes. I'm just going to drop the bishop back and he's going to develop his bishop on this diagonal. Yes, I'm going to have knight to d5. Knight d5 takes, takes. Queen back. Pawn takes knight. Bishop takes knight. I'm going to have an isolated pawn to play against. I'm still down a pawn, but an isolated d pawn. He could choose to take away from the center, stifle his own bishop. What about here? If he doesn't take, I think that's my move. Should have looked for another candidate, but um, the knight really does want to go there. Don't see any other great moves to pick from. He took. Now, if the queen goes back, this pawn can't take because the pawn is pinned. So where does he put the queen? Here or here? He just drops it straight back. I'm going to win my piece back. And he did take away from the center. Okay. I would love nothing more than to bury that light square bishop now and just make that a terrible piece. Right? Some sort of small gnat crawling across my screen was a distraction. So still down the pawn, but initiative is still thriving, and I feel like bishop here, even allowing this trade because it buries this piece. Um, so yeah, that's my move. It also threatens to take the bishop immediately. Um, could defend the bishop with the rook or the queen. No, no, there's still an open file here. You don't have to come up here or over here to free up. It's not a bad move to free up the redeployment of the bishop so that the bishop's no longer a terrible piece. That really weakens this pawn. Which I would love, love, love to exploit. But can I? Hmm. I like I like queen to d3, um, eyeing the knight. This pawn's pinned. So in the event of the bishop coming off, takes, I have knight to g5, threatening this pawn, maybe baiting it forward. What are other ideas? Queen d3, I'm down to 827. Opponent has just under 15 still. Um, I mean, I don't know. Queen d3 might be met by just rook d8. And then I'm sliding over, threatening the king. That's met with queen to e6. Takes maybe an intermezzo first, actually, before queen d6. Just rook takes rook check, rook takes rook. And he's traded a pair of rooks off. And then queen d6 and takes, sorry, too many arrows, and takes. I win my pawn back. And I have, but he's got a 3-on-2 on the queen side, and I have a 3-on-2 on the king side. So going into an end game, his 3-on-2 would be better than mine because his king is closer to my majority. Um, so what about queen c2? If queen c2, I then pawn takes, queen takes. My rooks are still connected. Maybe I'm still supporting this knight jump. I think I like queen c2. And I've used a lot of time, so if he takes, I'm just going to pre-move the take back. Um, he might not take back though. But he does. Okay. So here we are. Okay. He is threatening a fork. He's threatening a king rook fork. What can I do about that? Can't just, I mean, I could just slide the king over closer towards the center. I feel like I do want my king towards the center because this could liquidate into an endgame pretty quickly, and I would want my king in the middle. He comes here anyway to attack my rook. I just attack the knight, not that way with this rook. Maybe I come here and he just comes back to attack the queen and drive the queen away. Hmm. 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Opponent still has a lot of time. I think I am going to bring the king because I want it in the middle for the end game. Something tells me this is going to liquidate. This move's a thing though. Then maybe I offer the queen trade. Queen here, queen g5, x-raying the defense. So queen takes, knight takes, queen here, queen takes, and knight takes. I'm threatening the f pawn. So if you lift a rook to defend it, preparing to stack rooks, that would probably be my idea as well. But then maybe I kick. Hmm. I mean, this is mate in one, so that has to be defended. Only other thing I can find is an intermezzo check. King takes, rook check, king back. And then maybe queen here defending the mate, threatening the mate of my own. So queen takes, knight takes, put down a piece. Bishop here to save his piece. I think I'm just down a piece there. Just down a piece. So X-ray defense, it is. Then if he stacks his rooks after trade, lift the rook. I think maybe I just challenge the rook. Trade off rooks myself and go to an endgame. A move ahead, going towards, with the king in the middle. 3 minutes, 39 seconds. I think I do want to simplify this because time pressure is going to get the best of me. And um, under time pressure, the calculation skills get tested. So the simpler, the better. It's still unbalanced because he is up a pawn. Um, and he's going to stay up a pawn, but his bishop's bad for the moment. Okay, so we have queens off the board. He lifts his rook to defend. I don't want to go into an end game. I don't want to. I don't want to take and trade 2 minors for the rook. Maybe in an open game. Maybe. Oh, would it be though? Like takes or takes. I'd pick up the bishop. Can I take? Takes, takes, takes. Check. I win the piece back. Maybe I lead with the knight though. Yeah, lead with the knight and threaten the discovered. That way, if he does stack rooks, if he ignores me and stacks rooks, I've got a discovered winning the material one way or another. So, yay tactics. I'm glad I spotted that because I win the piece back with a seventh rank check. So material is equal now. He gets his king towards the middle. If I come back and threaten this pawn, he pushes to defend. I don't have great prospects for my knight. So maybe coming here to attack the bishop with the idea of swinging around here and attacking the rook. So I finally win my pawn back, but his king is a step closer to the center as well now. Um, and I got 226 plus 10 every move. So I think perhaps now I challenge the D file, E file. I challenge the E file. And interesting. If I come here, attack the rook, he takes, I take. Not too worried about an end game here. I think an end game looks pretty equal. His king will have to be over here to help guard against my 3-on-2. Now what does he do with the rook? If he comes forward, I come to the back rank with check. He has to come back to block, and I just take the seventh. And I own the seventh rank. Maybe he goes back voluntarily, and I take the seventh, but then he skewers my rook and knight. So that's not great. Where does he put his rook? He just attacks me. If he does anything silly, really, I've just attacked the bishop. If he stays behind, all right, he gives up the rook. Gives up the rook. Oh, wow. 2 minutes. Um, I'm flabbergasted here. All right, I gotta take it. I gotta take it. And where's the knight go? Here. Then I win a pawn. It's back. And then I come out. Nope. Then I get skewered. Maybe I have a F pawn to block. Does have a check. Check me. And I start running. Could check me again. I still run. And I get over here towards the queenside pawns. 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Opponent's down to 8-10. There's the check. Okay. I don't want my king caged in, so I'm coming out towards the middle. Backwards would have been a mistake. I need my king in the middle of the board. His knight's still attacked. He's got to go somewhere with that. And here or here. My arrows are all over the place today. Sorry. Um, Not a lot of options for that knight. I guess he does have here now. If he does that, I'll probably take it. and go into a rook versus bishop endgame with equal pawns. I would have, if I had my king's not there, I would have pinned it and then won it. So, or no, the bishop would have still been guarding it. All right, he backs up. So let's push our pawn and just control this square as well. Not worry about the knight jumping in here. Lift my rook. It is keeping the king from escorting these pawns. I love the fact that my rook is dividing the board. Um, I think now I just walk the king forward. I didn't want to go to a square where I could be checked. I'm going to dance down here with his knight. And where's the knight go? Knight here, threatening the pawn. King here now. He's got his way across to keep my king out of here. He lets my king here, and that's pretty awful for him. So he wants to take the opposition. Oh, he checks me because it's a fork. But, well, it's check, so I have to respond. And if I do take it, I lose my rook. So good move on him. If I come back here, I lose my rook. So it's only back here because I'm not losing my rook. Minute 30. This move seals my bishop off. Um, it's a check. I'm getting further away from the center, but that might let me get my own pawns rolling. So I don't mind the knight check. Suspecting c4 just to seal my bishop off. It's really, really good square. All right, well, I was incorrect. Incorrect. If we, minute 15, bring the bishop, offer it, let him have the knight, knight for bishop for knight if he wants it. Now leave me with a rook versus a bishop. But I need to get my bishop out of there before it's sealed in. And this looks like the best square for it, so I can start escorting these pawns forward. bring the bishop back. Now I've got these two squares that the knight, I mean, the knight could still jump in, but I'll probably take it just to simplify a bit. Um, it's a little embarrassing to say I'd be happy with a draw here because I'm up the exchange. But my opponent is still fighting on. Does that allow me to pin the knight? I guess he can defend it over here. That only leaves him with pawn moves unless he defends the bishop with the knight over here. But I'll make that trade and go into a knight versus rook endgame with pawns on both sides of the board, which will make it very difficult for the knight to defend both sides. Um, I'll just have to be really careful about forks. Okay, now we come in to the middle. Advance and we lose our rook. Um, treacherous. So treacherous. Just going to back it up. Minute 20 still. Can check. Then I'll just move forward. He attacks my rook anyway. Let's slide over here and make his king commit to one side or the other. Good, he went the other way. Now I've got pawns. Now I can roll with some pawns on a 3-on-2 where the king can't get over. The knight's going to have to swing over here to help defend this position. And the king will be over here. Oh, the knight doesn't swing over. Interesting. All right, well, I'm running with my pawns. What's he gonna do? Push with a check. I'm sliding over. There's no forks there with the rook and king. So there is a fork here, though, with the rook and king. And if I go back to defend it, he's got a fork here with the rook and king. So knights are so treacherous. So treacherous. Why don't we swing over? And it comes here, then we go back. He is really trying to get me to fall for some knight tricks. Um, Just gonna lift the rook, keep the knight out of this square. Minute 3. If I wasn't getting 10 seconds back every time, I'd be in a lot of trouble. I do feel like I am still playing this for the win. I just have to be very careful of knight forks. Okay. Minute 7. He comes here and attacks my rook and my pawn. So let's lift the pawn. Let's lift the pawn. Because I very much want to keep my rook on the E file and prevent the king from joining the defense. Oh, I gave up my rook. I gave up that rook. That rook. Ah, ah. Still a draw. So many forks. So many forks. I didn't pay attention to the king and rook fork. Well, I think this is going to end up a draw now. Because maybe my pawns are a little more advanced. Which side is he going to go? Is he going to commit to defense? Is he going to commit to attack? I think I'm faster. My pawns are more forward. But then I sneak in and I start gobbling up pawns over here, maybe. This is not an easy hold for him still. Because I've got my pawns further advanced than he does. And whichever direction his king goes, I'm controlling the center. My pawns are closer to queening than his. So even giving up the rook may not have saved him. And he's offering a draw. That's very nice of him. I'm going to politely decline and press forward with my king. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I win this. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 moves to queen. 1, 2, 3 for 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I win this. I win this race. King pawn endgame, and this is 1 for white. You have to take with the king, or I'm going to queen this that much sooner. And I queen first. and our queening squares oppose. So this is just one. Good game, friend. Crossed 1900 there. That was a good game to cross 1900. 1901. Opponent dropped to 1992. Um, whew, what a game. Let's check uh, the game review. That's what I'm looking for. Game review. Sorry, it's going to take my brain a second to start processing words again. I played that like a 2350. Opponent played like a 2150. Excellent. That was a game. I did have the edge most of the game. I gave a little bit of it up towards the end, but I had the advantage. Let's start this review. Wow. Okay. Book Smith Morra pays off. Um, this move was a little bit of an error. I do give up a half a pawn advantage here. Should have went ahead and castled. Computer never likes that move for me either, but I do play that position because it's not easy to play against black in this kind of structure. I should have gone ahead and attacked here. Okay. There are so many opportunities for this knight jump in the Smith Morra, and it always looks so scary doing it because sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And calculating it deeply, um, like I guess memorizing this because basically this is opening theory almost, with the exception of like this knight maneuver. Um, we're both playing good moves. Black has a slight edge. He's up a pawn in material, but he has a 0.4 edge on the eval bar. This was an excellent move. This is a great time to jump in with the knight. That was a mistake. He just wanted to bring the rook over, leave the queen as is. That would have, no, it wouldn't have run into a pawn push. I would have just taken the knight, and I would have had to deal with this pin eventually. And here I make a mistake. I thought this was a good move. That is an error. I felt like locking down this pawn structure and leaving his bishop a bad piece seemed pretty reasonable. It wants me to launch forward with the H pawn, drive this knight away, which makes good sense because I've got this pressure on F7. It might have baited like an H5 push or an H6 push. And that was the best move. Nice. I love it when I find best moves. An error. But that was a miss. It wanted me to take on F2. Taking on F2 here. Checking the king. And king takes, then what? Knight jumping in with check? I don't know. King's got to go back. Oh, and then I check with the queen. Then I check with the queen if he goes straight back to defend this pawn. And then he goes to the corner and I've got a smothered mate. So yeah, that's a good mating pattern to know. So I missed an opportunity there. That was also a miss. It's a dead even game here. I should have taken again. Taken this F2 pawn, and I feel like I calculated that to some extent, but I'm missing something here with the queen on C5. I'm gonna have to look deeper at that. That was the best move. Okay. And It wanted black to push forward and give his bishop some scope, and just accept the check. Okay. Going back. Oh, should have taken the bishop. Oh, I love how I played this game so much. This gives me confidence, because I know I can play with masters level players. Like this was a 2000, an expert, but I truly believe I am at an expert level when I'm focused and playing. So many of my games are just like throwaway games that I play on a whim, um, blitz and such. But this push towards 2000 is really giving me some confidence again. Playing wonderful moves, and this position, even giving up the rook later, I don't lose. I lose a slight advantage, like not a whole lot. This was an error because I gave up the rook, but I still have the edge because my king is closer to the middle. It can escort the pawns easier. And I'm so happy to see I'm finding best moves in an end game situation because that is my struggle. And this is simply winning for white. Black can do nothing. All right, friends. Thank you so much for watching that with me. I hope that inspired you a little bit, and because it inspired me. Play the Smith Morra. It's a fun opening. Come back, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.